somewhere deep in the Nevada desert, there's a cave that shouldn't exist. Not on any map, not in any record, and anyone who gets too close never comes back the same. Kenny Veach went looking for it, alone. No GPS, no guide, just a camera and a handgun. The last thing he ever uploaded was footage from that final hike. He never found the cave, he never came home, and almost a decade later, no one's figured out if he vanished or was silenced. Kenny was a 47-year-old hiker and YouTuber from Nevada. He called himself an avid explorer of the desert, regularly trekking alone into the Mojave with minimal gear. His channel had only a few videos, but his last upload is what made him infamous. It all began with a comment. Kenny, posting under the username SnakeBitMG, replied to a video about strange desert sounds near Nellis Air Force Base. He wrote, "One time during one of my hikes, I found a cave entrance shaped like a perfect capital M. As I got close, my whole body began to vibrate. The closer I got, the worse it felt. I was scared out of my mind. I turned around and ran." That single post exploded across Reddit, YouTube, and conspiracy forums. Everyone wanted to know, what did he find? Was it military, paranormal, a natural anomaly? Some called him a liar, said if he'd really found something, he'd go back and prove it. So he did. On November 10th, 2014, Kenny uploaded a video titled M Cave Hike. He brought only a handgun, a camera, and a backpack, and he set off alone, deep into the Sheep Mountains north of Las Vegas. He never found the cave again, and just days later, Kenny disappeared. His phone was found at the entrance to an old mine shaft. Nearby, his camera, turned off. No final footage, no backpack, no gun, no sign of a struggle. Search and rescue teams scoured the surrounding area. Helicopters, drones, ground teams. They found nothing, not even footprints. Some believe he got lost in one of the deep shafts or caves and was never found. Others say he may have staged his own disappearance to escape personal struggles. At the time, Kenny was reportedly grieving the death of his father, struggling financially, and dealing with depression. Some believe the hike was meant to be his last, a planned ending in a place he loved. But the internet wasn't done with his story. Reddit and YouTube theorists began connecting dots, pointing to Kenny's proximity to military testing ranges, abandoned mines, and even rumored entrances to underground facilities. They've suggested everything from secret government tech to sonic weaponry to alien contact. Others have speculated that Kenny did find the cave, and what he saw inside was something so disturbing, he never had a chance to upload the footage. One of the most debated clues, a user claiming to be Kenny's girlfriend, posted on YouTube, saying he had battled inner demons and that the M cave was never real, but her identity was never confirmed. And some believe she never existed at all. Years later, hikers still search the area, some convinced they'll find the M cave or Kenny himself. So far, no one has, and today, Kenny Veach remains one of the most haunting disappearances in YouTube history, a man chasing something impossible and walking straight into a mystery we still haven't solved. Some disappearances remain mysteries forever. Others are solved too late. This is the story of Geraldine Largay, a woman who vanished on one of the most traveled trails in America and whose final moments were more tragic than anyone imagined. Geraldine Largay, known to friends as Jerry, was 66 years old when she set out to hike the Appalachian Trail in 2013. She was an experienced section hiker, warm, positive, methodical, and though she usually hiked with a friend, this time, she was alone. She'd started her journey in Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, heading north toward Baxter State Park in Maine. Her plan was simple: hike for a few weeks, check in by text each night with her husband George, who followed her progress by car, meeting her at pre-arranged locations for supplies and rest. But on July 22nd, Jerry didn't show up. She had stayed at the Spalding Mountain lean-to in Maine the night before and left around 7 a.m. the next morning. Her goal that day was just under 14 miles, a manageable distance she'd done before, but sometime between leaving the shelter and reaching the next rendezvous point, she vanished. Search and rescue was launched almost immediately. Hundreds of volunteers, dogs, helicopters, all combing the dense forests of western Maine. Nothing, no clothing, no gear, no trace. And the mystery deepened when her cell phone records revealed that Jerry had attempted to send multiple texts to her husband in the days after she disappeared. Texts that never went through. Messages like, "In some trouble, got off trail, lost. Can you call the ATC for a search? I'm somewhere north of Woods Road. Lost since yesterday." The final message was sent nearly a week after she was last seen, and even more heartbreaking, cell data showed that she'd stayed in roughly the same spot for almost 26 days. She survived alone for nearly a month. Her remains were found in October 2015, 2 years later, less than 2 miles from the trail. She had set up a small camp in a densely wooded area, concealed by trees and overgrowth. Inside her tent, they found her sleeping bag, her gear, and her journal. She had documented everything: days without food, nights of rain and cold, her slow deterioration, and her final thoughts. One entry read, "When you find my body, please call my husband George and my daughter Carrie. It will be the greatest kindness for them to know that I am dead where you found me, no matter how many years from now." The real question that haunted people was, how could this happen so close to one of the most heavily traveled trails in the country? The answer? She likely took a wrong turn trying to find a secluded spot to go to the bathroom, something hikers do often, especially solo hikers trying to maintain modesty. But the terrain was unforgiving, with thickets, boulders, and false paths leading deeper into the woods. Once off trail, orientation is nearly impossible. And because her text never went through, rescuers were searching miles away from where she actually was. Search teams likely came within 100 yards of her tent multiple times. She heard them, but they never saw her. Her death wasn't the result of foul play. There were no conspiracies, no cover-ups. Just a series of small missteps in an environment that gives no second chances. Geraldine's story became a chilling example of how easy it is to vanish in the wild, even with gear, a plan, and experience. But it also left behind something rare: closure. Her family knew what happened. They had her journal, her words, her final thoughts. There was grief, but also peace. Not every disappearance ends like this. Kenny Veach's vanishing remains open-ended, ambiguous, the subject of endless speculation. But Jerry's reminds us that not all tragedies are unsolved. Some are simply too quiet to be heard in time. We cover cases like this every week, the unexplained, the unsolved, and the ones that don't make sense. If this gripped you, go watch our long form on Lars Mittank. Another disappearance that never should have happened. Subscribe to Cut Cases and stay curious.